What's up, you guys? So I want to talk about something that's like a really big theme in healing or reinventing yourself or self-development or changing your life or whatever you want to call expansion or whatever you want to call it. And this is the theme of authenticity, being your true self and being honest, being aligned with the world. Who you are inside matches who you are outside. Who you are in your mind matches who you are in your body. Being a balanced person, doing what you love, what you believe in, you're passionate about, and not just what you were conditioned by some external factor to be or believe in or think or do or whatever it is. And I think that being authentic is not always something that you can control, because a lot of people lie about themselves or lie to themselves not because they want to, but because they just don't know who they are, because they just haven't had the chance to get to know themselves. When you're in a really bad situation, for example, let's say you're just overloaded with trauma, you are coming out of like a lot of feelings of trauma, ancestral trauma, whatever, family trauma, whatever, and then at the same time you're like in a 9-to-5 job and you're just working all day. You're not able to be you're not able to even know who yourself is, because that is just so clouded. Who I am is so clouded by what you're having to do in the moment to survive. And I think like that there's no coincidence that when people find some level of comfort in their life, a lot of times that's accompanied by huge life changes, divorces, breakups, just disconnecting with certain people in your life, moving from certain places. And at this point, I'm used to this. Because I've been on this like journey for my whole adult life, basically, I've been searching for that optimal version of myself. And it's really working, because like I can certainly say that I'm more aligned than I was a few years ago. Like I'm definitely more connected to the things that I want to be doing and places I want to be, things I want to be believing or whatever it is. But there's this like pattern that you see with people that are in a constant state of like upward motion. And by upward, I mean upward for you, like you like this constant state of moving up in life, in the world, and like becoming the best version of yourself, is that you're oftentimes going to break up with a lot of friendships, a lot of connections that you've had in the past, because they may have served you in the past and they're not serving you in the beginning. And so sometimes there's friendships and relationships that are so amazing that you in order to hold on to them, you like basically lie to the person and to yourself about like yourself, and then that sort of breeds a certain wave of resentment. I've done this with Andrew. I've done this with many relationships in my past. This is actually the reason why I stopped being friends with a lot of people, or I got out of like certain relationships, because I cared so much about the relationship, because it was so important to me, that I basically completely separated out the parts of me that I thought would survive in the relationship and versus the parts that didn't, until it got to a point that the parts that I was ignoring in the relationship got so big that it exploded in a way that was irreversible, that the relationship basically exploded and I wasn't able to come back from it. So I'll give you an example. Actually, I'm going to give you a hypothetical example, because I don't want anyone to like connect things in my personal life with this. But like, let's say I have a friend that is really, really awesome. I love her as a friend. But she has really bad breath. And every time I hang out with her, like, I really want to be around her. I love texting her and talking to her. But when I'm with her, I just can't stand the way that her breath smells. And maybe that's the problem is me. Maybe I'm just overly sensitive. Maybe the problem is her. She just has a really bad breath. But other people aren't reacting to it the way that I am. So I just feel like, well, I don't want to be left out in this friendship. Like, I really care about this friendship. It's really important to me. So I'm going to keep talking to her and being friends with her. And I'm, like, just gonna try to not address the part where I might lose her if I'm honest with her about her breath. If I'm being honest, she's a very nice person, but she's gonna get her feelings hurt, and I'm scared that I might lose her if I am honest with her about the way that I feel about her breath. So it starts off as like a really just benign thing, like I just don't like her breath. But then it starts building up in my mind, because the more time goes on, the worse I hate her breath, because I feel like I can't do anything about it. So I hate it and hate it and hate it even more. And it just becomes like this big, huge thing in my head that starts to make me resent the relationship, because I just can't validate this need in my mind to not be around her stinking breath. So I just can't validate it, because I just think of myself like, I'm such a terrible person for feeling this way. Like, she's such an awesome person. She's so amazing. Like, how can I keep bringing up her stinking breath? Like, so I just swallow it. And every time I see her, because she's a human with instincts, she starts to feel that I am having some kind of stinky reaction to her. And she starts to feel bad, like, what's going on? And then we start getting in weird tiffs about things that have nothing to do with breath. Like, she's just like, why did you say that thing? Are you like a snob or something about, like, we're talking, let's say, about politics or the news or whatever it is. Are you like a snob or something? Like, how could you say that? And then I'm like, what? Like, why are you so sensitive? Whatever. And then, like, we get in random fights that have nothing to do with her breath, but they are coming about from the energy of inauthenticity, the lack of connection that was created by me not being forthright about the breath thing in the beginning. And it's not even about the breath thing. It's never about the breath. It's never about the thing that you think it's about. It's never about the problems that you think it's about. It's never about like a tangible specific thing. It's usually, and it's never even about the other person. It's usually about what you brought into the relationship to begin with, the level of authenticity. And oftentimes the level of authenticity that you bring into the relationship is not the level of authenticity that you come out of the relationship with. And so let's say I'm going through a healing journey and I want to be a more aligned person. I want to be the kind of person that attracts what I really want, not the fake me wants, but what the real me wants. I want to really attract all the things that I want in life. And I had gone into the relationship with like kind of like a less, like a more fake version of me, a less authentic version of me. But like, because of this dynamic with my friend, I get to a point in my life where I realize that I want to be with friends that don't have a stinky breath, let's say, or I just can't handle the stinky breath anymore. Or I can handle it, but I just have to be honest about it. I just can't hide it anymore. And so I share. And whatever you share, whatever energy you go into this authenticity with is what you get out of it. So if I believe that by me being honest, I'm going to lose the relationship, there's a big chance that I might lose the relationship, because it's like been 3 years or 4 years or whatever, 5 years, that me and this girl are friends. And after 5 years, I come to her and I'm like, hey, your breath really stinks. Sorry, I didn't tell this to you for 5 years. And then she's like, so our whole relationship was a lie, and she might feel inclined to break up the friendship right away because she comes to a realization, or she might think that I've changed as a person and I'm like a bad person, someone that she just doesn't feel safe with. And the thing that might make her think and feel that is that I'm bringing such a tense breakup kind of energy into this discussion. Like, I'm making it feel like that. I'm making her feel like she won't be able to go on like this. But let's say I really believe that my being authentic, is what's good for me and for her. It's going to allow us to become closer, and it might be a little bit uncomfortable in the moment, but it's going to make us closer and it's going to be worth it. So I tell her, like, hey, I didn't tell you this for the past 5 years, but I'm trying to be more authentic and your breath smells. But if I say it and really believe that it's not going to affect our friendship, and really believe that we can still be really good friends and even be closer, and then she understands that I really value the relationship, and she understands that I really want to be close with her and I really don't want to lose the relationship. And she also understands that the fact that I didn't bring this up for the past 5 years is because I cared so much about the relationship. So she might feel inclined to stick around and still want to hear it. But all in all, what you don't lose in any of these situations, whether or not you lose the person, the people in your life from being authentic, or whether you become closer with them, what you don't lose is yourself in any of these situations. When you're authentic, you are always serving the world. You're serving other people, you're serving yourself. If you have been thinking this whole time that your friend has stinky breath, then she wants to know. She does not want to be, nobody is gonna feel safe being so close to people that think that they have a stinky breath. Or, I mean, in that imaginary situation. You're doing your friend a favor by being honest with her, and you're doing yourself a favor by allowing the universe to attract things that are actually matched with you and not matched with a fake you. Let's say you tell your friend that she has a stinky breath, and your friend can't hear it and stops being friends with you over it. Maybe that's also a good thing, because the universe is clearing you up from people that weren't made to be friends with you in the first place. You were not made to be friends with somebody that couldn't handle that you thought that she has a stinky breath. You can't. The universe needs you to be friends with the people that are a really good match for you. Even if it's going to take a long time for you to find that, because you are so special, unique, specific. Like, even if it takes a while, you need to be around people that you strengthen and who strengthen you. We all need that because we're animals that pick up senses from our environment. So why am I talking about this in my personal life? Because I feel like I'm in a place in my life where I'm getting really comfortable. And like, so many things have changed. I've moved around a lot. I moved around in the States, I moved around in the world. I've been moving around a lot. Me and Andrew live in Bali now. And it's just getting comfortable. Like, we've really gotten rid of like all the anchors, the mental, the physical anchors, all the things that were stressing us in the past. And not only that, the health stuff. Like, I do not have an ear infection right now. I don't have an ear infection. This morning I woke up with some ringing in my ears. But it was like very momentary. And it was like pain and ringing. It was like the prickly, like when your nerves are popping off. We both have that still. Andrew still has like some vertigo that comes and goes, but it's like nothing near what it used to be, Anxiety sometimes, but like in the past, it was the worst. Like it was not comparable. And we have both completely transformed our world and our paradigms several times over. But one thing that I did not leave throughout all of this, and that did not leave me throughout all of this, is me and Andrew. We have been together. We have like basically gone through this process together, from that situation, which was like so scary and traumatic and terrifying for me, to this situation, which is like so awesome for me. I can't speak for Andrew, but it's like this really, it's like this period of my life where I just feel comfortable. I feel okay. I feel safe. This place feels safe. We talk to our host like every day. She's so amazing. She's like a loving, caring mother. I just feel so much love and safety and warmth. And when you have a period of safety, love, warmth, and rest after a period of turmoil, there's always going to be a time when all your feelings come out because they feel safe to, because they didn't feel safe to come out before. And a lot of my feelings about the past, fears that I had in the past with Andrew, like feelings, fears, criticism that I had in the past, are coming out now. Like, they're not even about now. They're about the past. And it's been really hard because they've been wanting to come out. And they've been wanting to come out in the form of freakouts, in the past. But I pushed them down because I really did not want to lose Andrew, because he has been so important to me. And even when I've allowed them to come out, like I've just allowed them to come out, but then like the next day, and you guys don't see this on camera because obviously like this is just happening in my personal life. Then like I'll come out and say these things that like scared me or bothered me or whatever, that I had built up so much in my head because I tried to keep them from him because I didn't want to hurt his feelings, because I didn't want to lose him. And then I'll bring it up, but then the next day I will like totally walk it back and say that I didn't mean any of those things. And so in his mind, there's crazy Pardes and there's like rational Pardes. Crazy Pardes is like the hormonal Pardes, and I think a lot of relationships that I notice are like this, like male-female relationships, where the women are so in love with their husbands, really, husbands or boyfriends. I'm saying that women do this a lot. Like, I know that men do this too, actually. I've seen men do this with me a lot. Like, I've dated guys that like had a problem, but they didn't want to hurt my feelings, so they just wouldn't say it, and then they would like just ghost me, and then I would only find out like years later, like, oh, like this is why it didn't work out, and he was actually really in love with me, and he really wanted to make it work, but like he just didn't have the heart to say certain things. But it always works out. Like you never wish that it. Rarely do I meet anybody that like wishes that it would have worked. I think the universe makes these dynamics play out for a reason. So, a lot of people, I think, have been in the same case as me, where like they appreciate the relationship so much that they're so afraid to lose it. And usually being so afraid to lose it is not even about the relationship. It's about you and where you are at in life. It's about feeling kind of in survival mode, feeling like insecure in your personal life and your finances or whatever it is. Feeling scared, fearful. And then when you feel a little bit of relaxation and safety, then it comes out, and I just feel when you feel some relaxation and safety, those true feelings come out. And Andrew has noticed this. He says, why is it that every time we feel safe and we're starting to feel relaxation and safety, all of a sudden I'm jolted back with like these terrible thoughts and feelings that you don't actually really feel because you always walk them back later. And what I realized is that I do actually feel all these things. They're part of me. I also feel the good stuff, but I also feel, and the thing is, like, a lot of these things are about things that happened in the past. So they sound crazy, but they're like reactions in retrospect of like, oh, when we met, like, remember when this scary thing happened and that scary thing happened and that scary thing. And like, he doesn't even remember any of these things. But I've been holding it in and holding it in and holding it in because I felt so unsafe to bring it up because I'm going to lose him, because we were just in a really turmoil situation. And the last thing I felt like I needed was to lose Andrew, because I really actually needed him. And I didn't want to deal with the repercussions of spilling it. So it comes out in a time of safety. But it doesn't mean that it's not me. It just means that it's a part of me that I intuitively didn't feel safe to bring out earlier in the relationship. And I think that a sign of like situations, people, and stuff that are good for you is those where that can basically evolve into that next phase of your authenticity, where you are starting to become more yourself, and those people, places, situations can grow into that with you. If they can't, it's okay also. Like, you don't really owe anything to the universe like that other than yourself. Other people don't owe anything other to you other than, or to the world other than what they are. You can't expect a bee to cut down a tree, and you can't expect an elephant to make honey. You just can't expect things to be what they are not. And being your authentic self, being honest with yourself and the world, is how you bring about alignment with the world. It's how you allow things to be directed to exactly where they're supposed to be. If you are not, like for me, my problem, which I still regard as a problem, which is, I think, a problem, and I want to change this. If I'm regarding my bluntness, I don't even like to use the word bluntness, like my honesty and my need for honesty, my need to say what I think, my opinions, my thoughts, my feelings. If my need to be honest feels like a problem, and I'm going to treat it like a problem, it's going to be a problem. And I'm doing the universe a disservice by putting this like negative energy into it. And the universe needs me to be honest for many reasons, like it needs things to go the way that they go. It needs certain people to see certain things or hold up a mirror to certain things and people. It needs certain people to stay away from me because I'm too honest, and it makes them feel hurt. So certain people need to be protected, and the way that they'll be protected is if they know right from the beginning who I am, instead of having to discover it later. There's many reasons why it's really important for me to be that person from the beginning and be proud of it, loud and proud of what I am. But I have been in situations where I've absorbed the idea that this is a problem, and I've actually made it into a problem. And actually most of the places I've been in that I can remember, maybe I even attracted myself to those places and situations where my honesty was a problem. But they really did see my honesty as a problem, and it started off with the community. And like, anyone who's been in any religious community knows that the religion comes before everything else. And especially if it's like a very zealous religious community, very fundamentalist, like fundamentalist Christian, ultra-Orthodox, Jewish, fundamentalist, Muslim, whatever it is. Especially if you're in a community that's like highly dedicated to the cause above all else, you're going to get a lot of dishonesty. You're going to get a lot of people that, and maybe they might not even realize that they're doing it, that will pose to be in alignment with certain ideas, values that they don't really believe in the bones, because dishonesty might punish them. Being honest might get them punished. So it just creates like this trend of just a lot of dishonest people that end up like, being dishonest or disloyal or, cheating or whatever the problems are. And so, yeah, so you absorb that like negativity about this trait that you have. And so you lie, let's say, because you feel like that will save you. But the lying, it's only a temporary save. It keeps fostering situations for you that you hate. Because when you lie about who you are, you're just forced to keep being, and you're attracting things that are in love with the not real you, the lie you. So you just keep being in situations you hate. And I feel like that's been a lot of my life, and a lot of back and forth, where I've tried to be honest, and then because I believed that my honesty made me an asshole or like a mean person, it did feel mean, and I created this energy of being mean, and I have been called an asshole a lot. And I think that's why I even became attracted to right-wing politics, and I became the queen of going viral, right in the first few years when I started working for Ben Shapiro, who was an awesome boss. I would not lie to you about that. Ben was an amazing boss. But this was my thing. This is what I enjoyed doing, I enjoyed pissing people off, because I really believed that me being who I am was a problem. Like, the way that I couldn't help it. I would see something and I would say what I thought, or say what I'd be like, oh, that's how I connected with the people around me. That's how I felt a connection and not alone, was if I could, at least some of the many, many thoughts in my head, if I can just get them out there and let somebody else be in it with me. Because I just spent so many years feeling so alone in my thoughts. In the community, I spent so many years feeling alone with my thoughts. And yes, I had friends, and I have friends that actually like watch my videos. Hello. People from my childhood or high school, whatever, and I love you guys. But there's just so many times, so much that you didn't know that was happening in my head, and as I'm sure there's so much that I didn't know that was happening in your head. And it felt really good the times when I got to say it out loud and feel proud of it, but I also felt like it made me a bad person, because I thought that because it originated from a place where my thoughts, I was ashamed of the thoughts, feelings, reactions that I had to the world around me. When I was in the community, my thoughts, feelings, reactions were that a lot of the stuff we were learning, the religious stuff, I thought it was bullshit. So that was just my personal reaction, but I felt like a bad person for feeling that way. So then I started to feel like a bad person. It created this energy where I started to feel like a bad person for feeling, for everything that I noticed out there. And then it would create this energy of when I would say things, it would come out with the energy of hurting people's feelings inadvertently, because everything that I thought in my head felt bad over time, you know? So I would like say, even if it's something that might be like benign sounding right now. So like, oh, like your hair, you have a spider on your hair. So, you know, maybe you don't think that that's a very insulting thing. Oh, there's a spider in your hair. But the energy that I would come out with it would be, can I tell you something? And it would be like an energy of like, I'm about to tell you something that is going to hurt your feelings and you're going to think that I'm an asshole. So I'd be like, can I tell you something? And the person is like, oh boy, Pardes is about to say something really mean, because she has this look on her face like she's going to say something really terrible. And then I will say, there's a spider in your hair. And I'll say it with this strong energy of like, I'm being an asshole. And the person who takes it is like, oh my gosh, I don't know why I feel this way, but I feel like Pardes is an asshole. And so they might tell me, you're an asshole. And I would have my belief about the world reinforced, which is that I am an asshole and everything I think is wrong and anything any reaction I have to the universe is wrong. And it's going to keep festering where I only tell people things that I think and that I truly think. If it's boiled up so much and festered so much that I literally can't handle it anymore, and usually by that point, it is going to drive people away. So even if those people could have been reliably in my life, those relationships could have reliably worked out, they don't. Not because those people couldn't have handled it in the first place, but because I went into it with an inauthentic energy, with an energy that self-punishes my own honesty and the good things about what I want to be. So my point with all of this is that I really want to start loving and appreciating the parts of myself that I always felt so ashamed about. I don't care if nobody else appreciates it or loves it. It doesn't matter. Maybe they don't have to love it or appreciate it because they have to love and appreciate their own things. But it is up to me to love and appreciate this thing about me, which is that maybe it was created in my childhood, maybe it was created, maybe it was just, I was born with it, but I need to communicate. And I need to communicate things right away. The less I communicate, the more of a problem there is for myself and for everybody around me. And my biggest regret that I have in my relationship, in all of my relationships really, is that I didn't communicate fully and proudly from the beginning. And the thing is, I can't really regret it because at the time I didn't have the tools or the energy to do that, because I could have really, really gotten myself in deep shit and maybe not have survived the situation if I was open and honest. So ultimately, the reality is that everything happened exactly how it was supposed to. But I'm in a place in my life right now where I feel safe enough to grow into my authentic self. And I have faith that, and I really have faith that, especially if you're in a place where you have that basic level of stability where you can handle it. And I wrote a book about this, about how you can achieve this. It's called House Hackers Anonymous. Description, check it out. It's an Amazon book. Once you have that like base level of security, safety, stability, whatever that looks like for you, that feeling of that you can relax and you're okay, being authentic can only reward you, and it can only reward everybody around you. So like that's basically where I'm at right now, is that learning to be really authentic and open with the people in my life without walking anything back. And there's going to be naturally some shame, but over time, continuing to keep giving love to that part of me that's authentic. So over time, there's less shame associated with it. And over time, it becomes, the energy changes from when I tell the person there's a spider on your head, it feels such a nothing burger, and they almost thank me because like, oh, thank you for letting me know about the spider on my head, because it becomes intuitive over time that you're just so open and comfortable with just communicating how you feel and what you're thinking and what you're seeing, that it just becomes a nothing burger. And to the point where I can say, girl, here's a mint, and be like, I got you. And see, I'm not even like, I don't even feel like I'm at the place yet where I know how to do that, where I can literally just go up to someone and say, your breath stinks. But I want to do that. I want to get to a place where I can literally go up to someone and say, you have a stinky breath. And for them to realize or to feel not hate, but love when I say that. That's basically what I really want. And it might take a while. And the thing is, like, I do have a lot of hate right now. I have a lot of hate. So it's probably going to sound like hate for a while. Everything I say will probably sound like hate for a while. Because I do have a lot of hate. I have so much hate for the universe. And I have so much hate for people forever keeping me silent and making me feel like I have to be something that I'm not, and I have to be in a cage, be all alone with my thoughts instead of being real, you know? Or to be punished for how I feel. I have so much hate. So yeah, it's probably gonna come out as hate. The first few times that I am honest with people, it's gonna feel like hate. I'm gonna say, Andrew, that thing that happened, I really did not like that. And then he'll be like, why does it still feel like you hate me? And I'll be like, it has nothing to do with now. It has to do with what happened years ago. But then he'll be like, so why does it still feel like you hate me? And the thing is, it'll be like that in all of my interactions. Stinky, smelly breath girl. I'm gonna say, I'm telling this to you because I love you. And she'll be like, well, why does it feel like you hate me and you're trying to insult me and be an asshole? And I'm just gonna say, I love you. But actually, there is an energy of hate because this has been suppressed for so long that there's going to be hateful energy in the beginning. But it doesn't mean that it won't turn around long term. And I really believe this. And actually, it has already turned around. Like, even the fact that I make these videos, I'm able to come here and like just blurt out my thoughts and feelings as openly as I do is crazy. Like a few years ago, it would have been crazy. And the crazy thing is that in the past, like when I first started being open, trying to be open, honest about my thoughts, and I started doing it on the internet, and I started going viral because of it, because I actually think that me being as virulent and like intense as I was with the way I communicated, because it was like my first time, it actually made it more popular. So I think that people actually wanted to see that. So there is even room for you to be your craziest, most hateful self too, you know, most intense, most, God, I need to say this and I've been holding it in for so long. You know what? That's like a release for a lot of people, because a lot of people are in the same exact situation as you, where they felt like they have had something to say for so long and the universe just didn't make them feel like they can. And they didn't feel like they're able to, and now suddenly they're given this platform through you, because you being honest is letting them be honest. So that's basically like where I'm at this point, and I feel really grateful, but I'm also like really scared. I'm really like nervous and terrified of what happens next. Am I gonna lose all the momentum that I've been building until now? Because the universe was not ready for it, was not ready for my authentic self. Did I rush into it too fast? Did I rush into being the authentic me too fast? The authentic me has so much to say. Let me tell you one thing that the authentic me thinks about. I am so sick of Westerners, and I understand that most of the people watching my video right now will be Westerners. I love you guys so much. I'm not saying all Westerners, but I just need a break from English speaking, you don't want to be colonialist type of people. I just need a break because it's, I'm from the States, and people like that have been on my radar for so long, and it's clouded up my ability to feel proud even coming here, because in Bali, like I said in the last video, like there's so many Westerners that are worried about exploiting the poor Balinese people, which is so silly to me. It's like this in every country, by the way, Westerners being afraid of like exploiting the poor locals. It's so silly to me because these locals are wealthier than you will ever be. These locals have more business experience. They have more wealth, grit, ability to survive, be fertile, have children, have grandchildren. They speak multiple languages, which you only speak one of. They speak multiple languages, which is why to you, they sound like they have an accent. These poor locals are charging you 3 or 4 times the price, the market price, because you are a dumbass. Because you are a dumbass. You have low IQ. You have 0 business experience. You would not know how to survive if another COVID hit. You would not know how to survive in the world without your single language that you can basically speak. You are just totally not fit for survival. All you have in the world is that you can call yourself a Westerner and you have an American passport or a UK passport or an Australian passport or a Canadian passport. That is all you have, okay? That you can be like, beep, 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 beep. I'm so rich, I'm exploiting the poor locals, blah, 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 blah. You are not rich, okay? You're a dumbass. You're poor, okay? You've never had a business in your life. And again, I'm not saying all Westerners, but if this is like the overwhelming majority of the attitude that you see is like, you have Westerners that are literally wage slaves. They're literally either getting money from a single parent or something, or a single boss that's being a slave, because if that single parent or boss cut you off, you're basically doomed. So you go to like another country as a slave, as a dumbass that speaks only one language, only has one bank account, would not be able to survive the next recession or anything, would not be able to survive if the dollar hit 0. You wouldn't even know how to barter your way around, okay? And then you go into these other countries and you're such a dumbass, you don't have any idea of budgeting or being frugal or like taking account of your future, saving, investing, and you are blowing all your money like a dumbass with 0 business acumen on these local businesses, and you're like, I don't want to exploit the poor locals. Learn to speak the local language. These poor locals, they're gonna starve now. You're so stupid, so stupid. And I've noticed that I am a little bit allergic to other Westerners, because I spent so long in it. And I've noticed that the smartest people that I meet, first of all, Balinese people, they're not the poorest people in the world. Okay, trust me. People are at least better than Americans or better than a lot of Westerners. They're having families. They're able to reproduce. They're having these large compounds that are beautiful. They're renting out Airbnb. They're having businesses. Everybody has a business. Everybody understands entrepreneurship. They don't have a word for entrepreneurship because it's just everyday life for them. Surviving is everyday life for them, and being an adult that doesn't have a daddy that takes care of them, okay? Daddy meaning like a boss, like or something like that. So this is like, and another thing I realized, so Balinese people are not poor. Mexicans are not poor. Colombians are not poor. People that aren't you are not poor. They are wealthier than you by a lot of different metrics, okay? And another thing that I've noticed is that I feel much safer and better around people that are Eastern European, Iranian, like myself, which I really consider myself Iranian, but American. And I have this hang up. This is just, I won't always feel this way, but this is just what I've been holding back for a long time. Turkish, I don't know. Other cultures that are not, Chinese, like other cultures that are not westernized, basically. I feel just safer. I feel like there's less of this, like, we don't want to exploit the people, you don't want to be colonialist, blah, 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 blah. Like, there's just less of that. Less of the, I have $100 in my bank account, but I'm going to donate it all to charity for these poor locals. I just don't like that. I don't feel safe around it. It just makes me feel like I'm around a bunch of dumbasses that will not be able to survive or help me survive, because if I'm around them, I'm going to eventually try to start businesses with them, and it's going to be more of that energy. And I just feel like the people that I met that are the smartest, the most gritty, that can really be comfortable, that if my kids are around their kids, my kids will probably be wealthy, fruitful, be able to survive many generations to come, are actually the non-Westerners, the Eastern Europeans, Iranians, whatever, like other people that are not Westerners. I just feel much better about their survivability. I feel like Westerners are very not pro-business, not pro-wealth, growing, expanding. They're very much trying to kill themselves. They're more obsessed with like the optics of looking too, they're like, oh, we don't want anyone to think that we're being too aggressive, or we don't want to be, we don't want anyone to think that we're being too hustling too much or whatever, that we're too privileged white people. And nobody thinks you're privileged. You're poor. Nobody thinks you're privileged. The people that think you're privileged are stupid. They're poor. Like when I was little, we thought white people were very privileged. But that's because my family came from literally war in the Middle East, and my dad was drinking his own pee-pee in the desert to survive, okay? Those are the kind of people that think you're privileged, okay? So anyways, there is my first virulent thought for the day. And I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep being authentic. And I have faith that this will align me better. This will align you better, the viewer. This will align the universe better. It will be painful, maybe, but it's going to filter out anything and anybody that should not have been watching me to begin with, or it should not have been in my orbit to begin with. It'll filter out anybody that from my life that I should not have been interacting with, or you know what I mean? But at the same time, it will also make me much closer to the people in my life, and to the people that are watching, and to you guys that are watching, and that if you so choose to continue watching. It'll not only make me feel closer to you, but it'll also give you permission, if you so choose, to be your authentic self without fear. And maybe give me the energy, because when you're able to be more honest and authentic, you're able to also receive people in their more honest and authentic self. It'll give me more energy to receive you guys and to receive the people in my personal life, to receive Andrew, to receive my friends, to receive my family in a more authentic life. Because a lot of times when we're not being authentic with the world can't really be authentic with us, because we're just so overloaded with all these thoughts and feelings that we have that we're not releasing, that if somebody else were to like give us anything authentic and honest, it would just cause us to explode. So that's what I'm hoping to accomplish with this video. That's what I'm hoping to accomplish with the next many videos, whatever I do, actually, interactions in my life, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. And I actually really have faith that it will cause more abundance in my life and more health, because we've already been on this trajectory of like, you know, like this upward trajectory in our lives. We've already been on this upward trajectory in our lives. But I actually really have faith that it's not going to cause me to lose any of this upward trajectory or cause me to become sick or anything like that. I might have some spasms or reactions to this in the next few days, but ultimately I think what will happen in the long run is that this is going to really continue and even accelerate my upward mobility in life, in wealth, health, happiness, my relationships, my connection with the universe, spirituality, whatever it is. And I'm excited to continue sharing that all with you guys. So if you're still watching, thank you so much, and see you in the next video.